So we're with Glenn Bourke, CEO of Hamilton Island and triple gold medalist in the laser class. Glenn, could you please make some comments about youth sailing and particularly the impact that sailing has on young kids' lives once they get involved?
Look, I think sailing has an incredible moulding effect on young minds. The interesting thing about sailing as a sport is that it harnesses the physical side, which a lot of sports do, but it's also a very intellectual sport as well. And what it does, in the course of any given race, you'd have to make between 50 and 100 decisions instantaneously. And if you start to make those decisions and they tend to be correct, or over time they become more correct, you get a feeling of confidence in your own ability to make decisions. And I think that's really important for young kids as they're growing and maturing and moulding, particularly, and they can use it in all realms of their life, just as I have in business more recently. I think the fact that you're making decisions and you're making good decisions helps you with the rest of your life. But the other thing that sailing brings is an athletic endeavour that gets kids to be independent. And I think for me, the most important thing, and I grew up sailing single-handed boats, but it's equally as true for double-handed and crewed boats, is that you become an important, either completely responsible for what you're doing out there on the water, which breeds a confidence in your own ability to get through things, or in a teamwork perspective where two of you are making decisions and helping each other to get the right end result. So I think more than many other sports, sailing and an introduction at a young age can have a profound impact on how youth develops both intellectually and physically and emotionally. And I think it does it more than any other sport that I've experienced, and I've experienced plenty of sports in my youth, thankfully to a father who introduced me to many different opportunities and many avenues. But the other thing that's great about sailing is that it's clean and wholesome, and that there is a fraternity of parents and people that are involved in it that are enthusiastic, that are helpful, and that there's a sense of community with it as well.
Yeah, Glenn, you hinted at the teamwork aspect. I think that has to be a strong part of it, and the bonds that you form with other people and other groups and crews. I think you'd agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, you learn a lot about how to get the best out of people, and that's helpful with the rest of your life as well. You understand that you have to set standards and try and lift everybody to those standards, and that there's a commitment, and it's a bit like all the fingers on your hand. With a few fingers missing, you're not going to be as dexterous as you would be with all fingers operating perfectly, and that's how crews come together. When it's a good and harmonious crew, they can sail with virtually no outward communication on board, and everybody still know exactly what they have to do in any particular situation. And the teamwork thing is something which sailing breeds at a very high level, because it's the coordination of any number of people on one boat for one outcome.
And I think, Glenn, judging by your career path, there's certainly many career options that open up to young people once they get involved in sailing. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a huge industry in its own right, in all the different aspects of it, from building boats to making sails to masts to rigging to working on marinas like the one behind me here, to just being in and around the water. And we would, as you can see in the background, there's a myriad of jobs that sailing will give you an introduction to being comfortable on and around the water, which is a great lifestyle for the rest of your life. But also in terms of the lessons that it teaches you, which can create good business practice in a broader sense as well.
And Glenn, there are some conceptions that sailing is an elitist sport. What would your comments be to that?
Look, you can't deny that there are ends of the sport which have very wealthy people involved and are very expensive. There also is the grassroots, which is what we're talking about today, which covers everybody. And it's yes, equipment is slightly more expensive than some other sports, but there are lots of opportunities for kids to get into boats not owned by them. Often, people like myself growing up sailed for people who owned boats, and that was a great experience and a great avenue. But at the ground roots level, it's not expensive. It is a wonderful experience and a great opportunity for kids, and definitely an integral part of the sporting colour of Australia.
Any final words, Glenn?
Look, what I'd like to say is that I had the great good fortune of being supported by people who had a great enthusiasm for a sport. That sport happened to be sailing, and it gave me opportunities that lasted my whole life. I'm still benefiting from those right now, and if you can get behind the people who support this sport of ours, it is a noble endeavour, it is fun for children, it lasts their whole life. I think that's important. You can't swim at an elite level after about 30. You probably can't do gymnastics at an elite level after about 24. Whereas sailing, you can do for your entire life at a high level or at a medium level. You can do it with friends, and it does create a great balance and a great opportunity when you're a hard-working person as well. Towards the end of your career, it's something that adds a dimension to your life forever. So support it if you can. Thank you.
Glenn, thank you so much. I know you've got a busy week ahead of you with the Hamilton Island race week ahead, so thank you very much for your comments.
Pleasure.